What is up, my friends? It is Thursday night, and you are very welcome along to the late night agenda. England, well, I'll leave that to you guys to discuss. Wasn't the greatest performance earlier on, and I'm sure you guys will want to go through that. As I was just setting up the stream here, it was still Spain nil, Italy nil in that game. And tomorrow we will be covering the France-Netherlands game on the channel because we've got lots of interest in that, obviously, from a Liverpool perspective. So 7:30 tomorrow night we'll be starting our watch-along for the France-Netherlands game if you would like to come and join us. But tonight we're going to be talking about the media, the transfer links, net spend, and a couple of other bits and pieces as always. Doreen, how are you? Said evening and hello to Craig. I'm good, thank you, Doreen. I hope that you are as well. Thank you for joining us. Elks, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my man. I need a Craig dancing Anfield Agenda t-shirt, said Billy. We are looking into the whole merch stuff, mate. We've been put in touch with some decent suppliers and we're just figuring it all out. I'm sure in the near future we'll be able to get a few t-shirts or whatever on the go. But until then, I'm glad to hear with you guys. It's a lovely day outside as well. It's a nice chill one. I'm a little bit annoyed, but I'm going to try and not come across as angry tonight, because I know people don't like it when I get worked up. But I am a little bit annoyed by particularly the Echo and their absolute nonsense. But you know me, well, I won't be short about saying it. So I want to talk about the spending last summer and how Liverpool need to step it up, in my humble opinion, as well. We're going to talk about what money was spent, and there's a few other bits and pieces as well for us to go through. So let's get stuck into it. Craig, we don't have to talk about England. We do. We do, for one little reason. I see already the knives are out for Trent, but Trent created more chances and played more line-breaking passes in the final third than anybody else in that England team before he was subbed off. So I think those who want to start using Trent as a scapegoat should probably look elsewhere for their scapegoats, because I don't think Trent was at fault for that England performance tonight. But then again, Gareth Southgate reckons it's all because they're missing a certain midfielder who doesn't really get much game time and wasn't very good. He thinks Calvin Phillips is the reason why England are struggling in midfield. Not for me to talk about. I'm not English, so I'll leave it to you folks. Right, I want us to sign Chiesa. I think somebody is getting a bargain there. We said this so many times. Federico Chiesa is on the market this summer. Juventus aren't able to tie him down to a new deal at the moment. Now that could change, but I do agree, Chiesa to me would be a lovely little astute piece of business. But tonight, what am I going to go through? Well, we're going to be talking about Michael Elise and Liverpool's interest in him, because that's been laid bare today a little bit. We're going to be speaking about a great article from Simon Hughes in The Athletic about what happened in Paris in the final in 2022. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the centre-back who just won't go away, and that is Lenny Yoro. Calafiori a little bit as well. Nico Williams has been mentioned today. But look, all the usual suspects. The real question that we all have is, when are we going to actually get going, right? Because that's the question we're all waiting for at the minute. And I'm sorry, but I got to call out the journalists again. I'm going to read something out to you, and I want to know your take on it, because for me, this is absolutely embarrassing stuff. So this is from Ian Doyle of The Echo. Now, I have a bit of a gripe with The Echo for a whole host of reasons. One, they're crap. Two, they're clickbait. And three, they've never, ever even acknowledged the existence of our channel. So I'm going to have a little go at Ian Doyle here, because this is the type of Kool-Aid drinking, soup taking, pussyfooting around nonsense that we have to stomach as Liverpool fans. A new centre-back is at present not an immediate priority, according to Ian Doyle. Liverpool believe other areas of the squad other than centre-back require more immediate reinforcement. And then he goes on with, Lenny Yoro is seen as separate to Liverpool's expected business. Let me say this very clearly. If Ian Doyle, anybody else at The Echo, or any other journalist that covers Liverpool believes for one damn second that we don't need to prioritise a centre-back, you're a fool. Simple as that. I don't care what nonsense they're getting told. If you haven't got the backbone as a journalist to come out and call it as it is, then I'm here to do your fucking job for you. Because Liverpool desperately need a centre-back. Liverpool needed a centre-back last season, and we didn't get one. So to go into this summer and try to tell us, the rational, fairly intelligent Liverpool fan base, that we're expected to believe a centre-back isn't a priority is nothing short of embarrassing. Call yourself a journalist and you're trying to pawn off that shite on the rest of us. Do your job. Do your damn job and stop taking the soup. Call the ownership out if they're not willing to spend, because we don't want another summer where we're being set up for underwhelming failures again. We don't want another summer where we're outspent and are supposed to think we can go and win the league. We need a centre-back, minimum of one. We need a defensive midfielder. And you don't even need to listen to me about this, because these same clowns said we need a centre-back all the way through. They said we were going to look for centre-backs at the end of the season. Now all of a sudden we're all supposed to believe that, oh, we're sound. We're sound at centre-back because our 32-year-old and the two young lads, well, they've got us covered. It's not like we're going into a season where there's extra games because of a bigger Champions League. Oh, wait. It's not like we're going into a season where the AFCON's been moved back into December. Oh, wait. It's not like we're going into a season after a shortened summer window. Oh. It's almost like you think we're idiots. There's only one idiot in this conversation, and it ain't us. It's a joke. It is a joke that they think we're this stupid. We need minimum one centre-back. Would we all agree with that? I think we would. Do you trust the process? Is the question that Connor has asked tonight. I.e., will Liverpool do good business this summer? 53% of you trust the process. I trust Michael Edwards. I absolutely do trust Michael Edwards. What I don't trust is this nonsense that we're supposed to just be grateful for what we have. No, we had deficiencies in our squad. They need to be addressed. TNT, stop giving us lunchtime kickoffs. 3 p.m. or later is okay, said Mark. I don't mind the opening game, Mark, being a 12:30. Now, I'd prefer it wasn't, bro, but I don't mind it. For me, it's the international break ones that really test my patience, and I'm sure the patience of many other Liverpool fans as well. But on this trust the process stuff, I do trust that Michael Edwards will get business done. I do trust that Richard Hughes and Arne Slot are in conversation and are looking over it. What I don't trust is the media, because as I've said from the start of this summer, they're all brilliant at telling us who we don't want, but nobody has a clue who we do want. So here's a question for you. How are we, as Joe Public, supposed to believe journalists that blatantly look us in the eye and lie to us? Tell us one thing for ages, and then when it gets to the window, the apologists come out in force. Because that's all they are. They're FSG apologists. And they need to get their finger out, or they need to be fucking called out. One or the other. We're sitting waiting for transfers, but shouldn't the club finally sit down with the 3 gentlemen who have 12 months left to run on their contract, said Stevie Boy. I'd actually up that to 4 now, mate, because we've got Yaros in the same situation. Whereas Pep Linders is looking to bring him over to the Austrian Bundesliga to sign him for RB Salzburg, but we may need to promote him. Then we have Adrian still not making up his mind. What is going on? Because it is really confusing. So let me just spell one thing out from the start tonight. And I want to just get this point across because I feel like it needs to be put out. I believe we'll get signings. I believe and trust that Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes will get it done. But what I don't believe in is the owners. What I don't believe in is the amount of money we'll have to spend. But the money we do have to spend, whatever it is, I trust Michael Edwards and I trust Richard Hughes to spend that money wisely and bring in the best they can get with the money available. But that doesn't mean that I'm happy about the amount of money that we may see given. Now, let's look back to last summer as an example, because it doesn't tell us everything, but it gives us a little insight. And The Athletic did a piece where they spoke about what teams need this summer, what we may expect to be spent in the transfer window. And one thing stood out. Last summer, the total spent by Premier League clubs tell a tale. So we had a rebuild, right? A rebuild. And I think most of us would agree it was somewhat successful. The players that were brought in, you could make a valid argument for a lot of them. But that was a rebuild. So a big window. We talked about a 90 million quid net spend being against what we'd done in the past, which was an average of 40. But here's the thing. Our rebuild window still seen us spend the sixth amount of money in the Premier League. Sixth in a rebuild. Chelsea spent £398 million in the last transfer window in the summer. £398 million. Spurs spent £213 million. City, £206 million. Arsenal, £201 million. Manchester United, the laughingstock, haven't got a pot to piss in. They still spent £177 million. Us, our big summer, our rebuild after a catastrophic season, we spent £148 million in the summer transfer window. Now this isn't net, this is what we spent. So, how are we supposed to compete when we're spending, what, less than United, Arsenal, City, Spurs and Chelsea? And we're supposed to get stronger? And we're already trying to rein in Arsenal and Manchester City, who in a quiet summer, for Man City in particular, are still outspending us. Arsenal spent 201 million and our rebuild cost 148 million. These FSG apologists, these soup takers, these pussies need to call the owners out, because we have the fucking money. The cheap gits just won't spend it. And all the excuse making in the world, and people who are like, we wear this, we wear that, it's all just waffle. It's all just manipulation yet again. Every goddamn fucking summer, it's the same. Big build up, big build up, big build up, big build up, piss poor execution. So, look at it this way. We're now sitting here scared that one of our players is going to go to Real Madrid. We're playing catch up in a window that shouldn't have left us in this position. Our captain and vice captain are both running down their contracts with 1 year to go. Our star player is running down his contract with 1 year to go. And we've already got all the upheaval and change behind the club, new coaches, new backroom staff, all this other stuff. What have we been doing? What have we been doing? You can't blame. We can't keep hearing about Arne Slot and Jurgen Klopp quitting forever. We can't keep hearing about this caused this, this and this. We knew Trent's contract was running down. We knew Virgil's was running down. And here we are again looking like idiots. Owen said 100% Liverpool fans, don't let these fools get away with it. It is honestly, it is getting on my last nerve. Because I get it. We've won stuff with Jurgen. But that's in spite of the owners. Not for. The owners are the problem. They are a problem. I've even got people over in Boston who have been Bostonians their entire life, have seen what's gone on over there, and they're telling us the same. I don't know what this mad cult of people that buy into FSG shite are. I don't get it. What do you want to win or not? And I'm not saying we need to be like Chelsea, but you can't tell us that we generate all this money and tell us we're on Forbes lists and tell us about a commercial partnership and then be piss poor every summer. For the love of God. Liverpool need to spend funds, said Tayshawn, within the transfer window this season to back the new coach. Agreed. I totally agree with you, mate. It's I'm getting wound up, and I know I get this every summer. I get people who'll say to me, Craig, the window's only open. You're overreacting. Calm down. And I hear you. I always appreciate where you're coming from. But just show me the one window where we've exceeded expectations. Just fucking one. You won't be able to find it because it hasn't existed. Our success up until this point has been in spite of FSG. It's because Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders, the recruitment team have pulled miracles out their backside. But we are being outspent by the teams that we're competing with. We're being outspent by the teams who are just trying to get to where we are. We're not moving forward. We still need to replace Thiago and Matip. And Ian Doyle and those journalists at the Echo tell us it's not a priority? Have you lost your damn mind? What is it going to take for it to be a priority? Virgil to get injured at the Euros. So we've got Canada and Kwanzaa and then Joe Gomez. And we're supposed to think it's not a priority. It's madness. It's madness. Craig, even when we won the league, FSG did not upgrade the squad at all. That's why I've always been FSG out. I try so hard to give them credit for the stuff they get right. I do, I truly do. But every summer, something happens where Liverpool fans get hoodwinked and accept mediocrity. And you get told you're greedy. You get told you're being unrealistic. But the numbers don't lie. Our opposition are outspending us window after window. So, what's true? We're told we've got a really high wage bill. Okay, well then get rid of Salah. There's 350 grand a week and 100 million brought in. We've got rid of 200 grand a week from Thiago Alcantara and 100 odd grand a week from Matip. Are those savings going into the squad? Are we still crying poor mouth over the fucking wages? Fans need to call this out. The Echo are supposed to represent the city of Liverpool. Yes, it's divided in half between the blue side and the red side. I get that. But if you're a local newspaper, you're supposed to have the interests of the city at heart. Not the interests of your access to the club. Not the interests of blowing smoke up the owner's arse. You're supposed to stand up for the city. You're supposed to call out the crap. You're supposed to grow a pair. Do it! Who are these idiots? Honestly. Now I know why we don't get invited to anything at Liverpool. Because we're one of the few people that have a backbone and ambition and call out the crap. Imagine telling a set of fans for months about centre-backs we're following, about Lenny Yoro, about all these, and then trying to tell us it's not a priority. You absolute clowns. Wonder what's happening with FSG buying another club. Don't know. But you know what else is mad? We haven't heard one thing from Michael Edwards. Nothing. Not a thing. Haven't heard from Richard Hughes. Nothing. Not a thing. Finally we got to hear from Arne, and that's brilliant. And I can't wait. And none of this is aimed at the new gaffer. Love the new gaffer. Really excited to see him play or coach the team and see the football we're going to play. And I wish him every success because I want him to succeed. We all do. But it's our job to speak up when we see deficiencies. Not just sit around and be happy clappers. Because happy clappers are going to end up with United. Happy clappers are going to end up 8th in the league again. Hold the owners to account. Call them out for their cheap, miserly ways. And maybe, just maybe, we'll move into the 21st century as a football club. Because the money's there. They just don't spend it. Read any article you want. Kieran Maguire, football finance expert. And we covered this yesterday on the stream. Liverpool are streets ahead. Liverpool have no FFP problems. Liverpool have no profit and sustainability rule problems. Liverpool are geniuses. FSG are forensic about the money going out. That's one way of looking at it. And it's correct assumptions. It's a correct analysis, from Kieran Maguire, who's brilliant. But another way to look at it is, John's a cheap fuck. FSG will rely on Bajcetic and the kids to cut costs. Look, there's a lot to be said for the great business we've done about younger players. Your Bobby Clarks, your trainee onlys, they're all great. And I welcome those signings. And there's nothing wrong with building up your academy structure and trying to bring those players through. But you can't keep looking us in the eye and telling us that we can't improve. Remember, we were told by these same journalists that Liverpool have looked around and don't see anybody who's available that can upgrade the number 6 position in our squad. Nobody in world football that's available can come in and be better than what we have in defensive midfield. That's the type of shit that we're supposed to swallow with a straight face. And I, who like to think of myself as a fairly rational-minded human being, I'm sitting here trying to figure this out day after day, and then see subscribers drop away when I call this shit. I'm thinking, who are these people? Who follows this cult? Who buys into this shit? Because when we're 6th or 7th, when Salah goes for nothing next summer, people are going to go, but we've no money to spend. And we'll all be saying, yeah, we tried to tell you, but nobody wanted to listen. Anyway, rant over. Let's get back to the news. Mikey Kavanagh said, you're my favourite streamer. Thank you, Mikey. I appreciate your support, mate. And look, I don't want to be calling this out. I love Liverpool. I want us to be successful. I'd love to be sitting here and just speaking about positive stuff. But my big gripe is that the media treat us like idiots. And when you've got your homegrown media, the Liverpool Echo, drinking the Kool-Aid and licking John W. Henry's backside because they haven't got a backbone to call them out in case they don't get a little interview with Uncle John, or in case they don't get invited to something. Well, do your fucking jobs! Calafiori. This one's interesting. Fabrizio Romano has been pretty good on Calafiori, and this is what he's had to say. Bologna are not accepting what Juventus are offering for Calafiori, and they're not happy with them over Thiago Motta, something we discussed yesterday. Bologna are open to a proposal from abroad. Liverpool have scouted Calafiori. Richard Hughes knows the player and wanted him at Bournemouth. So Fabrizio Romano is able to tell us all of this stuff, able to talk about Liverpool scouting Calafiori, able to tell us about Richard Hughes and his brilliant network, but the Liverpool Echo tell us we're not looking at a centre-back and it's not a priority. Someone's lying. And I know who I think's lying. And look, you can say they're just trying to manage expectations, or they're trying to keep things under wraps. But why do we always have to give them the benefit of the doubt? Why do they always have to be trusted? They're spoofers. Every single one of them. Craig, I love how real you are. Look, mate, as I said, I just say it as I see it. That's it. I just say it as I see it. And I don't like being angry. But you've got one set of people telling us one thing, and then the numbers don't lie. And we've gone through the numbers. Last summer, we were the 6th biggest spending team in the Premier League. 6th. And we still outseeded expectations and finished 3rd. And that, you know, felt like an anticlimax. But remember, we're trying to catch up to Manchester City and Arsenal. So just to keep up with them, we have to be clever, and we have to be bold, and we have to spend. So how can every other club have the availability to spend a load of dough, but we don't? Chelsea, Spurs, City, Arsenal, United, all outspent us last summer. Newcastle, who we were told hadn't got a pot to piss in last summer, still nearly spent the same amount as us at 131 million quid. It's honestly laughable. Right. Coop miners. This is the type of shite that the Echo have come out with again. Liverpool handed tying Coop miners blow. Now, hear me out here. The headline, Liverpool handed toying Coop miners blow, makes it sound like we're after somebody for the centre of the park and we've lost out. But according to the same paper, we've looked around, there's nobody there. So we've lost out or we haven't, lads. Make your mind up. Did we want Coop Miners? Because whenever somebody else goes somewhere, we suddenly lose out. But how can we lose out if we didn't want them? Make your mind up. This said, Liverpool may have been dealt a blow in their reported pursuit of Atalanta midfielder Tane Coop Miners. They go on to speak about Juventus coming in to try and sign a deal, €60 million being mentioned. Which one is it? We want the midfielder or we don't? I'm confused. They put an article up on the Echo the other day, and the article read as follows. I'm trying to think of the exact wording. Bear with me. I want to get it right. It was something like... No, I have it in my notes. Sorry, I'm scrolling back. No, I haven't got it. Sorry. It was something along the lines of... Juventus star warned against Liverpool move. Something along those lines. And the article doesn't mention Liverpool in it once. Not fucking once. The warning came from a former Juventus player saying that Juventus shouldn't sell. Not to us, just shouldn't sell. Because they believe Chiesa has more development in him. And that there's a player in there. And the Echo go... Liverpool... Or Juventus star warned against Liverpool. Something like that. Honestly, it's absolute nonsense. JC, thank you, buddy, for gifting 10 Anfield Agenda memberships. Really kind of you, bro. Nico Williams, HITC Sport, have said Liverpool are reportedly one of a number of clubs targeting Athletic Bilbao winger Nico Williams in the summer. They go on to say that Liverpool have joined the race with Arsenal, Aston Villa and Newcastle in the pursuit of the talented 21-year-old. Good, but... all of a sudden, the focus from a lot of the media seemed to be about attackers. And look, I'm not hating that. But, do you know what? I'm going to ask you a question. What's your priority? Right now, tell me what your priority is. If you were running Liverpool Football Club, what would you be looking to do right now? Because for me, centre-back, defensive midfielder, and a utility forward if we don't lose a forward. If we lose a forward, then we get into the realms of a Kvaratskhelia, a Nico Williams, a Michael Elise. And look, I'd love Elise. And we will talk about Elise tonight because he's been linked with a move to Liverpool. But the way that the media go on sometimes, you'd make it like we're too perfect to find anyone. Do you remember we had to listen to Jurgen telling us at one point, how can I find improvements on the likes of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain? Hi, Jurgen. Hi. Somebody who's fit and available to play. I don't know, might be a start. Right, let's go through some of your comments. My priorities is centre-back and a defensive midfielder, said Robert. Centre-back for George Edwards. Graham Jackson said, evening Craig, mate. Ever since Klopp announced that he was standing down, I was thinking that something had happened behind the scenes. I wonder if it had to do with the contracts of Trent. Honestly, mate, I don't know. And I don't want to feed into conjecture. But what I can say to you is, the fact that we haven't negotiated these deals yet is worrying. And because we were told at the end of the winter window that the priority was between then and the end of the season to renegotiate with Mohamed Salah, with Virgil van Dijk and with Trent. Then the Klopp situation came up around February and we were told that Jurgen was going to be departing and that he told the club in November. And then that seemed to provide a get out of jail card that everything else went out the window. And that Liverpool had to start recruiting, and that Liverpool looked to bring in Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards came back, Julian Ward came back, and all this other stuff. And that's cool. But it doesn't give you a get out of jail free card for everything else. We're going backwards so far this summer. Backwards, not forwards. We've lost players, we've not replaced them, and we're being told that they're not a priority. I'm very confused. What is the plan? What are we trying to do with Trent and Verge and Salah? Because we keep being told the club are going to negotiate, the club are going to renegotiate, the club are... When? Because at this rate, Madrid are sitting there, knob in hand, going, this is good. We could get Trent for a song. Let's get Jude in his ear. Salah's sitting there going, it's a win-win for me. I either leave Liverpool in a year's time and get 100 million signing on, or what? Because he's not getting a new deal. There's no sign of a new deal. Centre-back is a must. We can't rely on Canade and injury, said Daryl. We've a poll up asking what you think the priority is as well, so please do vote on that, my friends. Last poll was, do we trust the process? Will Liverpool do good business? And 52% say yes. And do you know what? Fair play. Because I do trust the business will be decent, but will it be enough? Like, for me, it's... The question I'd ask myself is, do you think that Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards will do the best that they've been given? Or with what they've been given? And I would answer that yes, because both those gentlemen, I believe, are damn good at their job. And when I rant about our owners, I'm not ranting about Michael Edwards. I'm not ranting about Richard Hughes, Dave Fallows, Barry Hunter, Will Spearman. None of those guys. I've every faith in them. But I don't have faith in the owners. Because the owners are leaving them short. Time and time again. Remember, we're forensic about the money going out of the club. Forensic. But when it comes in, it's all vague. Liverpool's new deal with Nike will see the club set record financial achievements. But we haven't once been told, not once, how much money we've made from any of the Nike deals. Not once. We were told about how much we're going to get, plus the 20%, but no figure. So how do we know it's better? It's all just... These spoofers will swallow any old shite that FSG give out to them and lap it up and ask for seconds. Trent gonna do a McManaman, said Ravendark. We've seen it before, haven't we? McManaman did it, Michael Owen did it, and Liverpool buried their head in the sand, and they nearly lost Steven Gerrard. If Slot ain't back, Craig, we're in trouble. No Klopp to pull miracles again. Exactly. Look, again, excited about Arne, very happy that he's the manager. Feel like he handled his first interview really well and looking forward to seeing what he can do. I'm 100% behind the manager. I'm 100% behind the support staff. What I'm not up for is somebody pissing in my tent and telling me it's raining. I'm not up for that. Declan said, decent is never enough. Where's the money? What you'll get there, Declan, is... But they bid 115 million for Caicedo. So... But they shit the bed on that one as well. And made the club look... Like, let's be honest. Last summer, the club were made to look a bit foolish. With the whole Caicedo-Lavia situation. You know, and you might say it didn't work for Chelsea. And that's fair enough as well. But we wanted both and didn't get either. And we ended up with... a very good, very experienced, wise-headed Endo, but that's not a solution for the future. That's a sticking plaster. And sticking plasters always seem to be FSG's modus operandi. Needed a centre-back, couldn't go into the market. Welcome to Liverpool, Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies. Needed a midfielder. Jurgen said we didn't, then we did. Welcome to Liverpool Football Club. Arthur Mello. They're not good enough answers. You can't answer a £100 million question with 20 million quid. Just can't do it. It's like what I said a couple of days ago. We need to be big in the transfer market to win the league and the Champions League. Yes, we need to move forward. And we're, at the moment, 2 players down and 3 players with a question mark over their head. So, I don't get what we're doing here. It's all very confusing. On Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia inquiry made. Reports suggest that Liverpool have inquired about Napoli superstar Kvaratskhelia. Caught offside have said Liverpool asked for information about his price over doubts about Luis Diaz's future. So, again, we're all being told that the club have no issues with Diaz or no belief that he'll leave. He's 3 years left to go and the club are comfortable. And yet every day we're hearing about his agent meeting up with with Barcelona in America, with Diaz going to meet up with Barca officials in America, with Papalucho wanting Diaz to go to Barcelona. You know, it's like that meme where the house is on fire and we're standing at the front, all smiles. Call me crazy, but how can we not prioritise a DM when we're going to play with 2 of them and our second option is being cleared for a month after being out for a year because of an ACL injury, said Anakin Skywalker. I don't need to call you crazy, bro, because I agree with you. You know, Endo's fine, and Endo bailed us out a lot last year. And without Endo, we would have been in a whole world of trouble. But he isn't a long-term solution, and there are better options out there on the market. Do you remember we were linked with, what's the dude's name? Hulmand. See the goal he scored today for Denmark? Do you remember we were linked with him when we were looking at Ruben Amorim? There was a report saying that Liverpool were looking around and the 24-year-old Danish star was one of the players. Am I supposed to believe that he wouldn't be okay? Am I supposed to believe that there isn't a defensive midfielder out there like Ugarte or Ederson or anybody else who could improve us? It's only half the team, Craig. Guess FSG want Arne to utilise the youngsters more. And that's okay to some extent. But my problem with what Arne has to do there with the youngsters is, I think it's putting too much pressure on those kids. And if those kids don't turn out to be absolute world beaters from the get-go, they get bet down by the media and the manager suffers. The whole thing about bringing young players through, every so often, yes, you get a Trent or a Gerrard or a Michael Owen or somebody who's undeniable that is ready. And Jayden Danns looks like he could be one of those as well. But mostly, young players take 2 to 3 seasons to bed in. Look at Phil Foden at Manchester City. A good example. He sat there and waited and learned from David Silva, learned his position. Silva went and he blossomed into an absolute baller. And that's the way young players should be dealt with. Bajcetic should be able to be slowly brought through. Bradley should have been able to be slowly brought through. But we're having to put out fires and throw these kids in at the deep end. And I don't think that's fair. Because I don't want these kids' confidence knocked. I don't want their career paths blocked down because maybe the manager's under a lot of pressure. And having to trust the kids, it's too much on everyone. They should be there to supplement the team. And they should be able to be brought through at a leisurely pace, according to their strengths and weaknesses, and how quickly they get up to speed, and how quickly they physically and mentally mature. So, nothing wrong with young players coming through. But that seems to be our solution here, is that we're praying that Arne Slot can pull it out of his arse. It's a lot of pressure. Paul said it's funny seeing people say that Southgate should be sacked and Klopp should be brought in. Look, it's not on me to talk about the English national team. But there is no chance Jurgen Klopp's going in there to take over the English national team job. None, zero. Okay, I'm going to say one thing about the English team. Gareth Southgate is what you get when you've got pussies running your FA. When you want somebody who won't offend anybody and won't say anything out of kilt or won't put players out, you get a Gareth Southgate. When you want a company man to tick boxes and come out there and smile for the sponsors and, you know, be an England manager who you can hang your hat on and be proud of, you get a Gareth Southgate. But Gareth Southgates aren't going to turn around the English national team. You need somebody with a pair of balls that's going to go into the dressing room and tell a few home truths and tell those players to get out on that pitch and play with the goddamn swagger that they should have because they are some of the best footballers on the planet. Not looking to make an excuse. He actually said this today. We have nobody to replace Calvin Phillips. What? Southgate is a spoofer. I'm sorry. Anybody who tries to say he's the greatest manager, got us through a year, he fucking shit the bed time after time with a group of players that I'd win the Euros with. Nico Williams, I'm watching him now. Nothing special. Sorry, he is. He very much is. And he's still really, really young. But I do think there are other options. But he's a very good player, mate. Calafiori own goal. Oh, there you go. John has an erection. Calafiori's price has gone down by a few million quid now. Scored an own goal all of a sudden. Hello, sailor. Yeah, honestly, I don't, Colin, love you, bro, but I don't get that take on Nico Williams. He's not. He's very good. How we lost that 2021 final is beyond me. To sit back after scoring with 90 seconds and invite pressure is pathetic. It's what happens all the time. First game, England, Euro, Serbia 1-0 up. What do? They end up letting Serbia come on to them. Today, Denmark, England go 1-0 up. What did they do? Allow Denmark to come on to them and get back into the game and roll over. And honestly, the players are better than that. That England team is full of absolute ballers. Make no mistake about it. And it stinks. What he should have done today, in my opinion, was throw Walker over to left back, drop Trent back into right back, put Bellingham back into central midfield with Declan Rice, and put Cole Palmer on in Bellingham's position behind Harry Kane. And then take Kane off and bring on Watkins like he did. And immediately when he brought on Watkins, you seen that England had the ability to get in behind. And Watkins' pace caused them problems. He is just... I'm so glad I don't have to get behind the English national team, because seeing the amount of talent that you guys have being wasted by this chancer, this spoofer in a waistcoat, baffles me. I don't know how anyone can defend him. YouTube Modi said, man, forgive me, but I love you. OMG. I love this whole live day today and back to back. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate you being in. So I'm trying to bite my tongue here. Arne Slot has had time to assess the squad and held conversations with Richard Hughes. And the new centre-back is at present not an immediate priority. The pursuit of Lenny Yoro is regarded as separate from Liverpool's expected transfer business. That's from Ian Doyle. Now, can we break this down? Genuinely, can we break down what he's just said there? So, Arne Slot's had time to assess the squad and had conversations with Richard Hughes. Cool, no problem with any of that. And the new centre-back at present isn't an immediate priority. Okay, so obviously that's a lie. And then after that, we're told, but the centre-back that we're not going to get, the generational talent that's going to go to Real Madrid, that we're flirting our eyelids at, the one that we all know damn well is never coming, isn't part of the plan, but is like in the super plan, like the big picture, super duper, curly whirly, champagne and Skittles plan that only exists in someone's fucking head. Like, if he's not part of the transfer business or expected, what are we doing? It's like Bellingham all over again. We're sitting around going, if he's available, if. Did we put a bid in? No, okay. But he is available, lads. Yeah, I know, but what? But we don't need a centre-back. Then why are we looking at him? Is that not a fair enough thing to say? If we don't need a centre-back, why are we looking at a centre-back? And why are we looking at a centre-back that we all know we're not going to get? It's laughable. I want Gay. He's been our best player in these Euros. Great player. And I would very much welcome Mark Gay at Liverpool. I think he's a good centre-back. Homegrown. I said this to you guys the other day when we were speaking about the 65 million price tag. I think it's more than reasonable. Yeah, I think Mark Gay being a shoe piece of business, I do. But here's the thing, right? My fear is this. So we're looking at Lenny Yoro and waiting to see what happens. And while we're doing that, everybody else is starting to make moves. So Juventus are looking to try and bring in Calafiori. Now, thankfully for us, Bologna aren't very happy with Juventus because of the whole Thiago Motta thing. And they'd rather ship him out of the league if they had to sell him. So we're lucky in that sense. But everyone else is making moves. Maatsen, left back, good promising left back, Chelsea sold him. Somerville, the one that we've been told for 6 months was one of the options. Brighton are the only team so far to have made a play there. Like, what are we doing? Like, have you seen, here's a genuine question, has anybody seen one journalist explain the situation with Trent, Virgil and Mo? Has anybody seen one journalist actually be able to say what is happening there? Because remember, we were told not a week ago that Liverpool might not start negotiations with Van Dijk till the end of the calendar year. Liverpool are really good with money. Liverpool are so clever. Liverpool are forensic about the money leaving the club. Again, 12 players have left Liverpool. Only 4 of them brought us a transfer fee. Not genius. Salah worth 100 million quid right now. Every day that goes by, that money's getting closer to his bank account and further away from the clubs. What are we doing? Does anybody have a pair? Just say it like it is. Salah needs to be sold. We need the money and we need to rebuild. And Diaz, this Diaz situation is honestly boiling my blood. He clearly wants to go to Barcelona. So give them 3 weeks to come up with the money or fuck off. Simple. Tell Diaz's agent, his father and him, if he wants to go to Barcelona, Barcelona have 2 or 3 weeks, and if we don't get 70 million quid offered on the table by then, it ain't happening. Shut your mouth, get back to playing. Oh, and by the way, you're now second choice behind Cody Gakpo for the left wing position. Does anybody have a pair? Because Michael Edwards is supposed to be this brilliant negotiator, and I think he is. But what are we doing at the minute? We look like mugs. FSG are happy to get Champions League and invest as little as possible while making money. They did not invest after winning the Champions League. Real Madrid at least have the balls to go out there and get whom they want. Exactly. I think you've summed it up quite well. And even missing out on the Champions League wasn't enough to really get John W. Henry, Tom Werner. By the way, these two clowns can't even agree on what direction the club want to do about playing games away from England or not. One of the owners has this massive hard-on for taking Liverpool around the world like the Harlem bleeding Globetrotters over to LA, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. And then the other one says, it's not in my plans. Which one is it? Which one? Is there any joined up thinking at the football club? Or are we just going to let Tom Werner run around talking shite all the time and not call him out on it? Liverpool can compete with Manchester United. Can we? Hi, Craig here, Anfield Agenda. The fuck? But, all the soup takers will just keep saying how great we are. And how we nearly went bankrupt. And how, oh gee shucks, isn't John a nice guy? Nah. Sorry. I'm having my Lee Gunner moment. Love you, bro, by the way, Lee. Sorry. I'm calling it as it is. Grow a pair. I don't get why Liverpool wait and allow players to be poached. Yeah, and if we don't do that, we simp and sit on them and watch them go elsewhere and then buy them or be interested in them for twice the price a year later. But then told that we're great with money. We need a player who wants to be with Liverpool. Yes, I agree with that, Mikhail. I agree. And there's nothing wrong with a player having a dream of playing for a Barcelona. But, you know, I get it. But what we can't allow to do is it be a distraction and take up column inches. Because rather than Arne Slot coming in and everything being positive, we're getting Arne Slot coming in and everybody going, is anything happening? And anything? Are we still trying to replace Jurgen Klopp even though we've replaced Jurgen Klopp? Or is that still taking up everyone's time? What are they doing? So again, I'm sorry I didn't look for the answer to this question. I forgot to check the chat. But has anybody seen any journalist tell us what's happening with Van Dijk, with Trent and with Mo? Anyone? Because if you have anything about you, you know that of course the players are going to be calm about it. Why wouldn't they be? It's a win-win for Trent, for Virg, for Salah. You either get paid by Liverpool or you get a big payday elsewhere. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for their agents. It's a win-win for everybody except the football club. So who are we looking out for? The football club or the agents and the individuals? And I'm not trying to point a finger at these players here because I don't blame them. You know, if I'm Mohamed Salah and I'm thinking, I like Liverpool, this is cool, I'll play here, Champions League another year and then I'll get 100 million quid to go off elsewhere. That's grand. If you're him. But if you're us, you look like a twat. That another 100 million has gone away and we're being told we've got no money to spend. Trent, I'm sure Trent's very calm, because why wouldn't he be? He either signs on a new deal with his boyhood club, which is cool, and we hope that's the case, or he goes to Real Madrid. Why wouldn't he be cool? It's a win-win. For the club, it isn't a win-win. It is a get it sorted, or... And even look, even if we get it sorted, right now they have us over a barrel. Look at Rashford. Look at the money he was able to command from Manchester United for half a decent season. And now they're stuck with him because he had them over a barrel. But the media won't call this out because they're afraid that they won't get invited to the next Jurgen Klopp farewell or they won't be allowed to ask a question. This is the problem with modern football. Clubs have so much power that people who are supposed to be representing their community and the fan base don't have the balls to ask the tough questions for fear of being scapegoated, blacklisted, kicked out. And my fellow YouTubers, we're supposed to have this freedom. But a lot of them these days seem to want to be media companies and seem to want to be pally-pally with everyone and seem to want to be in with the in crowd and the media because that's where the money is. But it's not being true to your roots, which is calling it as we see it. Craig, FSG are all about self-sustainability. Where Liverpool or Boston Red Sox finish is irrelevant. The problem we have though, Meg, is, and I can't speak to American sport because I don't watch it. I watch NFL, but I don't know anything about Major League Baseball. But the problem we have is this. The owners are seeing the asset go up and up and up and up, and there's more projected growth. And no matter what else happens, just sitting on the Premier League Football Club at the minute will make them a wedge of money. And that's a problem because they know they're going to continue to get paid. They bought the club for 300 odd million. Conservatively, it's worth 3.5 billion. So they win in that regard. And I've always been okay with that. What I haven't been okay with and what I refuse to accept is them treading water and sitting on their hands while they own the club. You want to make your money when you sell it, have at it. But you've got to make the club competitive. And Jurgen papered over the cracks. Now the owners are being caught with their pants down again. And if we don't speak up, if we don't grow a pair, you're going to have access to the club and all the interviews you want, but will be shit. And I don't want to be that guy. My job is to speak up for you, to speak up for Liverpool fans, to want the best for our club, not for my access or for my bank account. My job is to call it as I see it. And that's the freedom we get on YouTube. So you're either a YouTuber or you're a bootlicker. But either way, time to pick a side. Because we can't allow this to happen again. These same spoofers tried to sell us down the river to run off to a Super League. And then sat there with their pathetic apology that some people lapped up. Well, not me. I seen through it. I see through it now. It's bullshit. They would do it tomorrow if they thought they'd get away with it again, in my opinion. And there was nothing sincere about that apology. It was PR 101. Smooth Operator said, that's why I only follow you and LFC Transfer Room for news. Look, I get stereotyped as the negative guy. I get told that I'm the outrageous, shouty guy. I'm the only guy that seemingly has a pair at the moment. Because I've spoke about great content creators and there are loads of them in our circles. But too many people are drinking the Kool-Aid and have forgotten their roots and have forgotten why they started this. We started this because we want Liverpool Football Club to do what we've all been raised and told that we exist for. To win fucking trophies. I don't want the Mikel Arteta legacy of one FA Cup in 6 years, but the media telling us all how brilliant we are. I don't want that. I want Phil Thompson lifting old big ears. I want Steven Gerrard lifting the Champions League. I want another fucking Hendo shuffle with the European Cup. Not to be told, attaboy, you're back in the Champions League. I want to win the damn thing. Because I wasn't brought up on Liverpool qualifying for these competitions. We were brought up on winning. Winning. What's so ugly about saying that now? Why are we afraid to call out when we're not winning? Why are we afraid to ask for more? We're not asking for what isn't possible. Liverpool fans aren't deluded. They don't want £1 billion spent in the summer. We understand that there were some restrictions. But we also want our owner to do everything. To leave 0 stones unturned. Every possible avenue needs to be explored to make us the best we can be on the pitch. And they do 80% of it. They put good people in good positions. Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, Will Spearman, Dave Fallows, Barry Hunter, Arne Slot. Nobody's any complaints, or very few. Good people, know their roles, know their job, execute it well. But they're doing it with a hand tied behind their back because John W. Henry, Tom Werner and FSG are cheap. I'm looking for comparables, right? How has this managed to be able to be spun that last year United had no money and Newcastle had no money? And yet we're sandwiched in between the two of them for how much we spent. And they'd no money. How does that happen? And it somehow gets spun into a rebuild. Because we had one window. One! Where we had a £90 million net spend. In one window. Every other season, 40 to 60 million. Then we got told that we can't afford to do that because of the wages are so high. Sometimes I feel like we're not living in the real world and people are just living in an alternative reality to the rest of us where I'm missing something huge. What would I do if I was Mo Salah? Sit there and wait for the 100 million exactly like he's doing. Again, I'm not. The way I look at this, Paul, is the players have every right to look out for themselves. It's their life, it's their career, it's their families, it's their bank accounts. Mohamed Salah has every right to sit there and wait to cash in on 100 million. I don't blame him one bit. My problem is that the club are being too nice again. And being too loyal again. And not making the difficult decisions, which is selling him. That's my problem with this. It's not the players. The players do what the players do. You know, they're there to get paid, and I don't begrudge them a fucking penny. But I also don't I know the player won't be here in 5 years, 10 years, but I want the club to be around. I want to tell my kid about more Champions Leagues we won and more league titles that we won. Not about how we nearly did it or we would have done it if only. So the get out of jail for the owners has been Man City for the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Can't compete. Then along come Arsenal. And all of a sudden Arsenal, who had owners that were lambasted by the fan base for not spending for years. And then all of a sudden they go in and they spend £105 million on Declan Rice. And they start spending money and lo and behold, they're right up there near the top of the table. It's almost like it's fucking magic. But us, we've put bids in. We've monitored. We've looked at. And the most important thing to remember, my good people, is that should a generational talent become available, you can sleep well at night knowing that Liverpool are able to compete for that generational talent. Now, we won't get them, but we can compete. We can look at them. We can get a semi, but we can't bust a nut. I want to bust a nut. Letting Mo or Trent go for free sounds too stupid to actually happen. But yeah. But yet, every one of the three of them can sign a pre-contract in January. And I've warned about this for the entire year. I've said this all along. Every week that passes, their hand gets stronger and the club's hand gets weaker. Every week. And here we are. The stuff that was getting dealt with at the end of last season was kicked down the can till the winter. Then in the winter, Jurgen departed, or was telling us he was departed. Then it got kicked down the road to the end of the season. Now at the end of the season, it's kicked a little further down the road because the players are away at international competitions. When does it get resolved? Busting a nut means something different in America. No, it doesn't. It means the exact same thing you think it means. Means the very same, mate. I was just trying to be PG about it and not, because I know some kids watch. That's why I've always said we need to sell players to buy better players. Exactly, Stephen. And even at that, mate, even if we can agree on that, we're still not selling Salah to buy the better players. We're still not selling the 32-year-old who's starting to pick up injuries, who has 1 year left to go on his deal. We're still not doing that. So, what are we doing? Again, Mane, Firmino, Salah. Best front three of my generation. Support Liverpool probably. As a combined unit. And all of them could go for €30 million. I don't get it. We lose at least one of the three, possibly two, totally mental. Exactly. So, if I said to you now, Liverpool might sell Trent, we'd all lose our minds, right? If I said to you right now, Trent might go to Real Madrid this summer, I'd be shouted down by a lot of people. And I can understand that reaction. But you can't tell me it's not a potential when this situation is as it is. Because all we're relying on is Trent's heartstrings, his emotional connection to the club. And no doubt the boy has that. And no doubt Trent has so much love for the club. But he also only has one career. And we're not talking about West Ham coming and knocking. We're talking about him looking at his best mate over there, probably winning Ballon d'Ors and lifting European Cups and league titles, playing with Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo and Valverde. And nobody's going to tell me that won't cross his mind. And we need to make sure that at the very least, he knows he's wanted here. Because if I'm a player The club saying they're in no rush to sort these contracts out would basically make me feel like they don't want me. They're not moving heaven and earth to keep me. Marca reported Euro has reached personal terms at Real Madrid. How true? So, I don't know, but it's kind of something and nothing. So, Marca, mouthpiece for Real Madrid. Lenny Yoro agreeing personal terms with Real Madrid. That doesn't surprise me. I think we can all maybe say that that's true. Because I can see a world where the player who wants to go to a specific club would agree a number with the club. But the agreement that needs to be reached is between Real Madrid and Lille. That's the important one here. Because Lille have a number they want, and Real Madrid know the player wants them so much that they can wait, because they're in no rush. They'll get Euro in a year if they have to, and he stays one more year in France. You can't make the kid sign the new contract. You can't make him sign for Real Madrid or anybody else. It's all very well and good Liverpool getting to 50 million and Lille agreeing, but if Euro doesn't want to come, nothing can change that. AP Witch said, there's only one man I trust, and that's Fabrizio. He's another mouthpiece that gets told a version that somebody wants him to know. So somebody rats the Fabrizio and then he runs out and tells the world. Whether it's an agent who wants a player to get a move or whatever. What I would look at is go, who's ratting? Who's telling all these stories to Romano? Because he clearly gets great information. But I don't trust any of them. Because every single one of them get told what clubs want them to be told. And there are great agents out there, journalists out there. Love James Pearce, David Ornstein's brilliant, Paul Joyce is amazing, Chris Bascom's really good. I have no real beef with any of the Liverpool-based journalists, but I am absolutely sick to death of the Echo and their nonsense. Because I don't know who they represent. If they represent the city of Liverpool, why are they kowtowing down to the owners, spreading what are clearly nonsense rumours and takes on the transfer situation and the landscape? Lynn said, just saw this, Liverpool in the frame to sign Arda Güler in huge statement of intent. Do you believe we're going to sign? Okay, I'll pose that back to you. When's the last time we bought a player off Real Madrid? Doesn't really happen, does it? So I think we can put that one straight in the bin. Fabrizio once said a while back that players tell him what they want in his articles. Look, there is a website where you can go and tell him what you want him to say and send the money. Google it. It's been posted about by journalists, I think in Denmark or Norway, where you send what you want them to tweet, you pay him the money, and you get the here we go. Or you get the news. It's out there. You don't need to take my word for it. Look it up. Morientes. And how much was Fernando Morientes? Because my memory of Morientes was that his Real Madrid contract was up, or it was almost up when we signed him. I don't remember there being a fee in there off the top of my head. So, it's not like we've gone in there and taken one of the players that they didn't want to lose out. So, yeah, as I said, when's the last time we bought a player from Real Madrid? I can't remember one. I remember some players being included in deals for Michael Owen and whatnot, but I don't remember us going in there and buying anyone off them or off Barcelona. Garcia, maybe. But other than that, I can't really think of anyone. Romano is so reliable because he gets told information deliberately as he has a wide reach. Oh my God, I wish I was so naive as you. Romano is a mouthpiece for hire. I'm not saying he doesn't get the information, but make no mistake about who he's doing it to benefit. His back pocket. End of conversation. He does what makes him money. Anybody that tries to sell a fucking here we go Kylian Mbappe tweet for 50 quid on a t-shirt is scum, in my opinion. And anybody that defends it, I think, is also very strange. He has no allegiances. So, and actually, he gets called a journalist all the time, but I don't actually remember him doing much journalism. That's what I'm saying, Craig. He gets paid to push the player's narrative, or the agent's narrative, or the club's narrative. But it's all just whispers. But look, I'm not here to go in on Romano. I mean, that's certainly not my intention here. I just don't think any of these guys are in it for the good of their health. If you look at, like, I don't know, pick a fucking channel. Oh, Jesus, I'm struggling here. Right, let's say Stretford Paddock. Look at Stretford Paddock as an example. Stretford Paddock are United fans who are interested in the best for United and speak about United because they're United fans. So their agenda is to want the best for Manchester United and give their take on the club. Journalists often cover a particular beat. There's very few of them that are kind of like Romano in that they cover everything. Because it's not possible really to cover everything. You need to have your own connections in one place. So for me, I pay more attention to the fan channels than I do to the journalists until the player signs. When a player signs, James Pearce will give you a brilliant article going in depth on what happened, how we got to this position, the breakdown of the deal, who said what, and it's incredible reading and I love doing it. It's brilliant. But I don't think they have the freedom to be able to call the stuff out for fear of reprisal. Remember when Jurgen Klopp went in on James Pearce for something that I think Melissa Reddy did or somebody else did? That's what I'm talking about. We love the idea of journalists asking the tough questions like they would a politician or like they would somebody else. But with a football club, you've got this elephant in the room of access. And if you don't play ball, are you really going to get the access? If you ask the tough, imposing questions, do you think you're going to be in the job too long? So I think the whole system is set up to manage expectation and manage a narrative. And there's only fans that are left to speak freely. And when you see the same fans inching across into the status quo, that worries me. Craig, if you were wanted by Madrid and was at Liverpool, would I go? I don't know, mate. Honestly, it would have to. It would depend on a couple of things. What point of my career I'm at? Do I feel like I've achieved enough at Liverpool? What the likelihood of game time is at Real Madrid? What my family thinks? You know, I wouldn't say no and I wouldn't say yes, but I'd be open. Man, Craig, you shred. I just call it as I see it. I just call it as I see it. That's all. I don't have an axe to grind with any individuals, but I don't like us football fans being taken for idiots and trying to tell us that we're not after a defensive midfielder or don't need a centre back and it isn't a priority is absolute nonsense. And they should be embarrassed to write these things. Moen said, what pisses me off is we aren't even talking about Geertruida, a player a club should be going for, who's on form and the manager's familiar with. Again, I'm unsure because one player from Feyenoord I could understand, but I don't want the whole Erik ten Hag situation where we only rely on one mark. And that's why I'm so happy that we've got Richard Hughes at the club, because his contacts in Italy are tremendous. And, you know, we have great contacts in Portugal as well. And we've got great reach around the globe as a club. And we are getting a lot of good information and a lot of good players. But too often we're just delaying it. Wow. Okay. Maybe I'm not in the minority. So that poll's very interesting. Connor put up a poll to say, do you trust the journalists? And 87% say no. That's alarming, right? Because journalists are supposed to be the people that call out the crap and uncover the truth. And if none of us have any belief in them, that's worrying. Maybe they're not writing it for the fans, but the selling club so they don't try to rinse Liverpool. So there's nothing wrong with the club underplaying stuff. And like if the Echo had have come out and said Liverpool are still weighing up a number of targets in different positions, centre back positions being looked at, I think we'd all go, alright, fair enough, you don't want to lay your cards on the table. But to tell us it's not a priority, like it isn't a gaping hole in the squad, is madness. I'd never leave Liverpool for Real Madrid. I absolutely despise the club. Are we trying to throw opponents off the scent in saying we're not interested in such and such a position? Potentially. But again, there's a lot of leap of faith going on there, isn't there? A lot of trusting that everything will be right. And we can only go off history, where history has told us that, for instance, the simple question, the generational talent question, right? That we've all been brought up over the last 10, 12 years to believe that if the right opportunity is available, Liverpool will go big. When? Like, it's been 12 years now, or 13 years of FSG. We've spent what I would consider big transfer fees on 3 occasions. And 2 of them were covered by the sale of a player. And the other one's Darwin. After that, genuinely, where are these generational talents that we're supposed to be able to compete for? And how long are we supposed to wait around hearing about the possibility of something when 13 years later we've not seen one? Archie Gray is out there now. He is, Colin. And the smart play, in my opinion, would be to go out there and sign Archie Gray and loan him back to Leeds. And then see how he works out. Because I don't think he's ready to come into a club like Liverpool and play yet. And I think even his camp are saying that it would have to be a very special move to tempt him, because game time is really important at this point. Great example of this is Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham's career has been managed so well by those around him. He came through at Birmingham and had the opportunity to go to Manchester United and many other Premier League clubs. But Jude Bellingham, his family and his representatives knew he'd be best served by going over to Borussia Dortmund, learning his craft, playing in a really good league, developing, getting Champions League experience and backing his talent to shine through. And it did. And now at 20 years of age, he's at the biggest club in the world. He's just won the European Cup and the league in his first season at 20. So sometimes there is a plan in place and you back yourself. And you got to give it to the Bellingham family and to Jude Bellingham. His career has been a masterclass of plodding a career. And I've nothing but admiration for it, because he's incredible. That's how you map it out. And for us, we don't seem to have the execution. We just have the idea of a generational talent, or we're being strung along with the possibility of it. I want to bust a nut, like I said earlier on. Is there anything to be said for another mass? Unfortunately not, Declan. Down with that type of thing. Right, look. Over to you guys. I know I've had a bit of a moaning stream. And I appreciate you all sticking with me. But over to you guys and let us know your thoughts. And by the way, thank you to everyone who's jumping on the tickets, the extra tickets for the Liverpool show and the Cardiff show. Brilliant. We got an update again last night, and thank you. Those tickets are moving again, and if you want to come along and see us on one of our last 2 live shows in either Cardiff or Liverpool, you can get your tickets with the link at the top of the chat or scan the QR code on the stream. Tickets are just £15 and it's an all ages event, both of them, and we can't wait to come and see you guys. Obviously we're going to have Carl Porter with us in Liverpool, giving you guys a bit of comedy as well, and thank you for all your support so far. It's been amazing. Thank you all so much. Full-time Spain 1-0 win. Good victory. That's them safely through. Group topped into the last 16. Our transfer is all talk but no action, said Abs. Yeah. And that's... but even the fact that we're not signing up our own players is worrying me. So whatever about the transfer business, we still haven't addressed the 3 big elephants in the room, which are the contracts of Salah, Trent and Virgil. Anakin said, we need Richard to go out and get Williams, Kvara, Ederson, Gay and Frimpong. This needs to be a statement window to welcome Arnott. I'm not sure what that's about, Trek Wars. It certainly can't be about anything I've said because I've not spoken about Trent playing for England on the stream. But even that, like even Trent being scapegoated by some of the fans of England, again, the stats don't lie. Trent had 54... Trent had more chances created, more line-breaking passes, and more passes in the final third than anybody else in that England team. And he was taken off in 54 minutes for Conor Gallagher. And will be scapegoated again. And the talk in the media will be about how the England midfield hasn't got balance. Again, the truth of the matter is the manager's the problem. And he's a pussy. Because any other manager would be looking at that bench and going, Cole Palmer, yes please, get him on there. But no, he's sitting there, twiddling his thumbs. I don't get that. Can we at least wait again after the Euros to do about the transfer window? Mate, I didn't click you into the stream, and after the Euros, your July 14th, pre-season starts and the lads are on a 2-week holiday. So half the window's over at that point. So for me, I respect where you're coming from, but no. Because that's again just a window gone where nothing's happened. So for me, no, we can't kick the can down the road for another 3 weeks because that's 3 weeks closer to them getting out of this transfer window without any pressure on them. Anakin said, media's disgusting. Foden, Kane, Saka, Rice, Stones, Walker, Gallagher have all been terrible, yet Trent was apparently the worst with the best stats on the pitch. Paul said, sorry Craig, you're wrong, stats do lie, Trent was again awful. Now, just ask yourself a question here, Paul. What's my interest in defending Trent in midfield for England? Because truly I don't give a fuck, because it's England and I'm Irish. Doesn't affect me at all. But as an outsider watching the match, and I did watch it, I thought that your left back was exhausted and Walker could have been shifted across to take Trippier's place, or Gomez. Trent could have dropped into right back. Bellingham could have been dropped back into midfield, and then you could have brought on Cole Palmer to sit in behind the attack, and Saka was ghosting. So, if you think Trent was bad, fair enough, but Saka was shite. Trippier is absolutely exhausted. So why is he always scapegoated? Because I'm not saying he was the best player on the pitch. I'm telling you what the stats have said. But looking at the game, I'm sorry, there's more England players in that team that deserve criticism. I'm the same, Craig. I'm a Scouser and England don't mean nothing to me either. I just find it lazy that it's always something to do with Trent. Even going to the tournament, as soon as you heard Trent was starting, you knew it was coming. No matter what else happened, you knew it was coming. And if England didn't go out there and beat everyone 5-0, somehow Trent was going to be at fault for some of it. So let's take Trent out of midfield and stick in other, whoever you think. Is it going to really make England more attack-minded? No. The manager's a coward. The manager hasn't got the balls to go and win a tournament. He just wants to not lose the tournament. And that's the big elephant in the room that some England fans bury their head in the sand about. It's disgusting how good that English bench is. England should be playing way better. And the whole thing about the weight of the shirt I get and understand, but it should be used to motivate the players. Those players looked lost out on the pitch. They looked crestfallen. They didn't look like players who were chomping at the bit to go and put things right. They looked like players who were feeling the weight of expectation on their shoulders, rather than players who are out there playing with freedom and expression and a swagger. Because make no mistake about it, they are very good players. You have a great squad. Craig, did you see Southgate saying they haven't got a replacement for Calvin Phillips? I know. Same man brings Luke Shaw to the tournament when he's not fit. Madness. But look, it's not my international team to get behind, so I'll leave you to that. Ian Wright bemoaned the lack of movement from the forwards for Trent to play into. Roy said there's something not right about that squad. I thought England looked a little bit better when Ollie Watkins came on. Because, look, Kane's a goal scorer. I absolutely appreciate that and understand it. But for me, you could see immediately that Ollie Watkins gave England an outlet. Gave him an ability to get in behind and run in behind. And you'd almost say, do England need to go 2 up top or something? Because England are very good at getting out of the gates and getting the opening goal in the game. But it's the killing of the game that seems to be... And I don't know if this is Southgate or this is just muscle memory. But when you go 1-0 up, you'd like to see that England team increase their swagger and just go in and kill a game 2 or 3-0. But it's like they're almost expecting the equaliser to come, and they just drop back. I don't know what it is about them. They're too good to play this way. And look, I think I expect most of you will agree with me on that. England have the ability to go out there and win the tournament. They do. And I mean that sincerely. But something isn't right in that dressing room and the confidence is not flowing. And the siege mentality is not really fooling anyone because, look at the end of the game today. Denmark in a circle in the middle of the pitch, full of energy, manager giving it socks, players all in a huddle, let's go. England, 3 or 4 of the players sitting on the ground. Took Kieran Trippier to actually kind of rally the troops and get them over to applaud the England fans. It's that tells a tale for me. The players look... and then you can maybe get into the conversation about player welfare, which is another good shout, because a lot of these English players going deep in tournaments have played a lot of football, and somebody again needs to say, is this affecting the national team? Because England look lethargic and tired out there today. Imagine if Klopp was England with that man. Imagine honestly. Imagine Guardiola, Klopp, even Wenger, Pochettino. I could think of like 15, 20 managers that would love to get a hold of that group of England players. Because I tell you what, I say this with no smirk or laugh. I think this is the greatest generation of English players in my lifetime. Back to maybe the Italia 90 bunch with Lineker and Gascoigne, and I'd even say this is a better group of players than the Lampard Gerrard era, where yes, you may have had a better 4 or 5 with the likes of John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, Lampard, Gerrard and all that, but England have an abundance of riches at the minute, particularly in the attacking end of the pitch, and yet somehow the talk is always about the midfield and the defence. It's weird, because England should be just penning teams in and dominating games. They're that good. I agree. Remember, most of the England team play against each other every week, so I personally think there's a rivalry. Yeah, there was some talk about that in the past with Spain as well, the kind of division between Real Madrid players and Barca players, but you know, that's what a good international manager is there to do, to make sure that when you show up for your national team camp, club allegiances are out the window for that time. Right, anyway, we've half an hour left, so let's get stuck into it. Let you guys dictate the chat. What do you want to talk about? Put it in, and I'll do my best to get through your comments, because we've had quite a stream tonight, and fair play to everyone that stuck with us. And all this comes from a place of love, because we all want the same thing. We want to see Liverpool succeed, and we want the best for our football club, and we should all be okay about that. We'll disagree from time to time, but you're all a lovely bunch and a respectful bunch, and I appreciate the back and forth. It means a lot to me that you allow me to have this expression, so thank you for that. Mate, love your content. Can't afford membership as a single dad of 2 boys. Keep it up. George, thank you, bro. Or Greg, sorry, bro. I read that incorrectly. Greg, thank you. And much love to you and your boys, mate. Thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. And don't ever worry about membership, pal. You being here watching, commenting is more than I could ask for, dude. So thank you. Recap. Tayshawn, there isn't really much to recap today, mate, other than me calling out some absolute nonsense from the Echo, and Ian Doyle in particular, about Liverpool not prioritising or being badly in need of a centre-back. So, a new centre-back is at present not an immediate priority. Liverpool believe other areas of the squad require more immediate reinforcement. Then he follows it up with Lenny Yoro seen as separate to Liverpool's expected business. Every day we're being told a new position isn't a priority, and we're told other areas are, but we're kind of running out of areas. Is there a hope in hell we could get Nico Williams? So, truth of the matter is this. He wants to go to Barcelona by the looks of it. If Barca couldn't get the deal done, yes. He's got a 55 million quid release clause. He is on a very big wage. It's rumoured to be about €250,000 a week at Bilbao. But yes, a deal is possible. Kvaratskhelia is kicking and screaming to want to get out of Napoli. His agent and his father are speaking up. He wants out. Absolutely possible deal. Other players at the moment. Ugarte, PSG have openly let it be known he's available. They don't see him as an untouchable member of their squad. 50 million quid will get you that option. Then you look at centre-backs. Calafiori, they don't want him to go to Juventus from Bologna, and Juventus are interested. So they would love to sell him outside of Italy, because they don't want to deal with Juventus, because they went in and took Thiago Motta, and they aren't happy about that. So there's another opportunity there if he's the guy. Let's be honest, it isn't going to be Lenny Yoro. He's going to Real Madrid. So after that, we have to be adults and say we need a centre-back. Go get a centre-back, whether it is Inacio, whether it is Diamonde, whether it's Mark Gay, whether it's Yoro, it won't be, or whether it's anybody else. Just pick whichever one you want and go get him. You know, what's the indecision for? How can Barca afford Lucho and Williams? They can't. They want Diaz. He's their number one target, Dave. And that will cost them more than Nico Williams on a transfer fee. So Deco and the Barcelona camp look at the squad and they believe that there's a lack of experience and leadership there, and they look at Lucho at 27 as being ready to go, ready to drop in, provide the experience as well. and he's the number one target. So it's absolutely not going to be a case if they want both. It's they want one or the other, but Diaz is the preference. Do we have any interest in Pacho? I don't know the answer to that. In all honesty, Ryan, I don't. He's been linked, but again, not a very difficult one to get done. The other centre back, Anton, looks like Bayer Leverkusen are making a big play to sign him. Xabi Alonso wants him to be the replacement for Jonathan Tah. So there is movement there and there's opportunities. Like Crescencio Somerville, we know we've been looking at him, but yet Brighton are the only ones to have actually reached out to Leeds. Bakayoko, truly don't know what's going on there other than we've been linked to him in the past. We need some action. But honestly, if I could sit here and say to you what business I'd like us to get done first, it's the contracts. I'd just like a definitive decision on Trent, on Verge and on Mo. That should be basic starting point here. Sort out them and then you have a better picture of what you need to do. Because if you know you're going to lose Virgil, as an example, and I hope to God we don't, but let's say if we did, you need a leader, so you need to go find another defensive leader. And that might be a different type of centre-back to the one you were initially looking for. If you need to replace Trent, what do you need to replace? Do you need to replace Trent the right back or Trent the midfielder? And if so, do you have enough time and can you get enough money for Trent? These are all uncomfortable questions, but they're still questions that aren't going to go away. They're questions that need to be answered. IFI Must said, Craig, season after season of transfer disappointment has dulled my interest and expectations on bringing in players that will improve us instantly. I wish I had a witty retort, but I understand where you're coming from. We have to constantly believe every year we're going to overachieve. Every year. That's the expectation. Our manager and our players will overachieve. Because if we just did what we were supposed to do based off the money we spend, we'd be like 7th or 8th. But we've been kind of blessed that we've had Jurgen and some decent recruitment that's done well. So, what many of us, rightly or wrongly, have always wondered is, imagine if we gave these very clever people a bit more money, and the very clever people that are very good at finding the underlying talent were able to shop in a little bit of a higher bracket, just for a window or two, and then we can start to supplement with the great youthful players we've brought in. Wouldn't that be nice? Just 2 or 3 here and now, bang, bang, bang signings. And then we can spend the next 2 or 3 years supplementing them with your Bobby Clarks, your Jaden Dans, your James McConnells, your Trent Cone-Dohertys, Kate Gordons, Pitalugas, and all these other great talents that we absolutely have at the club. Trainioni. They're not ready though. And I know the owners have patience, but fans still have to pay for their season tickets every year. We can't write off a season. Fans have to pay for their Sky TV or their TNT Sport. We don't get to sit around watching our asset value because the thing that we love, we want to succeed and win now. We don't want to win financially because that's not what we fell in love with sport for. We all fell in love with sport seeing somebody lifting a trophy somewhere, whether it was an FA Cup, a World Cup, a Champions League, or a First Division or Premier League title. That's why we all fell in love with football. For the trophies, for the glory, for the moments. And the journey is part of that. Of course it is. But we don't give a shit about being accountants or statisticians. We care about getting behind the lads who are out there giving everything on the pitch and believing that the club have left no stone unturned to give the manager the best chance of success. I can't simplify it any more than that. But not one fibre of my body believes that the managers we've had have been given every crumb, every possible bit of support from the owners. I don't believe that. Craig Sheehan said, I hate the back and forth. We want him. We're getting him. The news every season. I just wait to see who we have and official, not rumours. So I get that, Craig, but there's also an argument to say if we don't kick up a little bit and don't let it be known that we have expectations, it's not going to get better, pal. They're not going to suddenly just start spending more. As fans, sometimes, unfortunately, some of our jobs to kick up a bit of fuss and call people out. Look at in Germany, great example. Look at how, if they're not happy with their board, the tennis balls are getting thrown on the pitch straight away, or they're going to let it be known. Sometimes I feel like we're almost too polite to the owners of our football clubs, because we don't grow up supporting owners. We support the club, the players, the manager. The owners, I don't think any of us really give a shiny shite about, to be honest, because they're all rich. They're all good billionaires. They're not in this for the love of the game. They're in this for a pound note. But we shouldn't have to accept them half-assing it as fans. I don't get why we don't call them out more. Abanash said, third place finished isn't good enough. We want Prems and European Cups. So, I think we overachieved last season, to be honest with you. But that still doesn't take away from the anticlimactical end to the season. You know, we were in a position to maybe push on and challenge for the title, but we fell away at the end. Now, that might be because of fatigue, injuries, whatever. It doesn't matter. But I think overall, third place probably is an overachievement for what we had. But most people would go, bit more, and next year, it's like our owners think other clubs stand still every year, and we're constantly just getting back to where they were the year before, but they've kicked on another little bit. One thing I've always loved with Liverpool is that the signings we make are always key to our success. However, why is in recent years we never allowed to go and buy the superstars? I know there's this mad myth that Liverpool never bought ready-made players or never bought... Liverpool broke transfer fees back in the day. It's just today's transfer fees are an awful lot bigger. And football's changed somewhat. But again, let me just take you back to what I started the stream with tonight, which is from The Athletic, and it is last summer's spend by clubs in the transfer window. In 2023, in the summer transfer window, Chelsea Football Club spent £398 million. Tottenham spent £213 million. Manchester City, £206 million. Arsenal, £201 million. Manchester United, £177 million. And then comes Liverpool with £148 million. So, in a season where we were already playing catch-up because we'd missed out on the Champions League, we still spent less than half of Chelsea, and we still spent a full 60 million quid less than Man City and Spurs, and 55 million less than Arsenal. And that was our biggest net spend under FSG. 90 million. Or at least it was our biggest net spend in the last 7 years. Because it's been 40, 40, 40, 40, and then 60. Then last year was 90. That was our biggest. And we were still the 6th biggest spenders in the Premier League. Any updates on Victor Osimhen from Napoli? Not that I'm aware of, no. Yeah, sorry, Matt. I've not really seen anything linking Liverpool, so I don't know if you were just asking from a broader sense, but I've not seen anything personally. It's Nev said, and that was a rebuild. Exactly. Exactly, mate. That was a rebuild. Will Somerville go to Brighton and we'll get him for 100 million in 2 years' time? I don't know, Tanya, but again, I'm just asking, what are we doing? You know? I would take right now, tomorrow if I woke up to hear we were in negotiations with Salah, Trent and Verge, I'd be happy. I'd be happy that at least we're getting some clarity on those situations and on those players. Because now my fear is that we're already playing catch up We're behind the 8 ball with 3 of our star players. We've lost a senior centre-back and Thiago Alcantara. We've got a new manager, new backroom staff, a lot to overcome, and there's just no ambition or no intent being shown. I agree, it's just annoying we're never allowed to buy the players who have already made statements and always have to go for the promising looking players. But do you not understand now this is why I was so adamant about selling Salah? Because I agree with what you've said and I agree with how uncomfortable it is. But that's why sometimes I say the uncomfortable things need to be done. So at a club where our owners are tight, and I think most of us admit that they're tight, isn't bringing in 100 million quid for a 32-year-old clever? If that 100 million quid is going to go to the manager or the recruitment team? I've never understood how this has even been a debate amongst our fan base. 100 million quid or no 100 million quid? Is 1 year with Mohamed Salah at 32 worth 100 million quid to the football club? No, it isn't. So somebody has to make the difficult call to go, let's try and sell this guy while we can cash in. Or we lose him for nothing in a year and he gets the money. Nothing against Mo, but I know where my loyalty is and it's to the club. With Virgil van Dijk, our captain is away at the Euros and we are hearing stuff in the media to say Liverpool might not even start talking to him till the end of the calendar year. Our vice captain is away on international duty with Jude Bellingham, with Real Madrid sniffing around, and we haven't tied him down to a new deal. I cannot square that circle. I can't. It keeps me awake at night trying to figure it out. 80 likes needed to get to 500, my friend. So if you haven't, please do take a second, hit that like button, drop a sub if you haven't done so as well. Tomorrow, just so you know, we are going to be live at 7:30 for a watch along of the Netherlands-France game. Obviously, Liverpool have a lot of interest in that game from both sides, so we're going to do a watch along of that, myself and Ben, tomorrow evening. News video will come out tomorrow at about 5 o'clock as well. Saturday is my day off, so there'll be no live content on Saturday. So yeah, tomorrow will be 5 o'clock video and then we'll be live at 7:30 for a belter of a game, to be fair, between Netherlands and France. What do I think of Adeyemi? Again, good player. Proven himself at Dortmund. Still got the ability to kick on a little bit more and develop. Would fall into the sweet spot age-wise and probably price-wise for the way we conduct business. Yeah, it would be a fine signing. Trent is not Real Madrid material. You might want to tell Real Madrid that then, Jim, because Real Madrid are trying to sign him. So what you and I think, with all due respect, bro, is kind of irrelevant because they need a fullback. Carvajal's getting old and Trent could be available for a knockdown fee. Not rocket science. If you were in their position, a marketing dream like Trent, an attack-minded fullback, you know, think back to Real Madrid's fullbacks over the years, you know, your Marcelos, they were always attack-minded. Carvajal even, attack-minded. Trent, I think he very much would do very well in Real Madrid. And he's only 25 years of age as well. Craig, if Slot isn't hacked, do you think he'll get the sack when we're around 8th of Christmas? I hope not. Because honestly, I'm excited to see what Arne can do. I know we kind of came as a bit of a left field choice after the recruitment search and all, but everything that I've been able to read about, hear about, the Dutch media, the Feyenoord fans, I really do think the club have got a good coach here. And I think with the right backing and obviously the right group of players, Arne Slot can do really well. And I love that he straight away said, I want to get above the 82 points. I want Liverpool higher up than third. That's my gaffer. I love it. So I'm fully behind Arne Slot and I absolutely hope that he isn't seen as a scapegoat by the club. And I don't think he is, to be fair. You know, I don't think he's been brought in to be the sacrificial lamb in between Jurgen Klopp and whomever else. I honestly think this guy could be a really good coach for us. Jonathan said, I love Mo, but honestly I believe selling him is the best way forward. Extending him, I believe, is financially responsible. Exactly, Jonathan. And this is the point, mate, I've tried to say all the way through. You can have a conversation about Mo where you acknowledge what he's achieved. It's not up for debate. Anybody will tell you the man is an icon and everything he's achieved at Liverpool, he'll be talked about for decades. But it's also okay to say that he's turned a corner and he's not the same player. And with the contractual situation and with his age, the conversation about selling him becomes more and more attractive. And if we can agree that those two things are both possible, I think we're getting somewhere. Because when I used to broach the subject, people would just look to the past and go, but Craig, you're ungrateful. He did this, and this. I'm not ungrateful for it at all. I'm very grateful for it. But I also know that he's getting to the end of the cycle, and the smart clubs sell these players. Look at Real Madrid. Casemiro, 70 million quid to Manchester United. And then they go buy Bellingham or Tchouaméni. So to do the smart business, you've got to make the tough calls. And the tough call in this situation is selling Salah. Do I think Trent's going to be dropped next game? For England, unsure, mate, is the honest answer. My goal for all the Liverpool players, be it Trent or Virgil or any of them, and international tournaments, is that they get home fit and ready to go for pre-season. Whatever happens with the international tournaments, you know, I don't wish anybody badness, but my priority is making sure that the boys are back fit and ready to go. So for me, if these lads all finish their competitions and come home, get their holiday and go in pre-season, that's a win for me. Because, you know, we just don't need injuries or anything like that, touch wood. Sentiments do not win titles. Exactly. Being nice lads doesn't work all the time. And remember, the funny thing is though, remember when Michael Edwards came back in, the whole fanfare was that he was being brought in to remove emotion, to look at the underlying numbers, to make the difficult calls. And I truly believe he will, because I know you've heard me ranting about our owners and our spending, but I swear to God, I fully 100% believe in Michael Edwards. No doubt. I truly believe that he will get it right over time, but it still doesn't mean I'm not going to want to call out the owners to give him a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. Because, you know, I want every penny possible given to these guys so they can go out there and be the smartest guys in the room with a bit of a budget. So believe in the backroom team. My gripe is with the owners, because ultimately the buck stops with them and they don't spend money enough for my liking. Nothing against the individuals at the club. I've said this many times. I think FSG have put good people in good positions, but it still doesn't excuse the lack of spending. You're lying about Real Madrid and Trent? Yeah, cool story. If I'm lying, then every media outlet in Spain must be lying. But cool. Yeah, they definitely have no interest in him, mate. Fuck me. What have I got to gain from talking about Trent to Real Madrid? What's the positive for me in that scenario, mate? Losing a player that I want a new contract given to? Fuck me, honestly. Your gripe should be with the fact that he hasn't been given a new deal. Now go cry elsewhere. Would I sign Andre Trinidad if he was available? Again, I would have signed him a year ago when he was available. And if we've moved on from him, that's fair enough as well. But we have to have moved on to somebody else. We can't just move on to be treading water. Use Arsenal as an example of transfer policy. Cool, let's try that then. Arsenal, we were told their midfield was a little bit weak and was being bullied at times. What did they do? Went out and bought Declan Rice. Problem solved. This summer, we know they need a striker. They tried to get Sesko. It looks like he's going to stay in Germany for another year. But they won't go out and buy another centre-back when they need a striker. That's what we seem to do. Where do you see Gravenberch next season? It's a really good question. I think he could play in a double pivot very well. I think there is an argument to say he could be transformed into a number 6. The argument is that where his biggest strengths are? But honestly, if I'm Gravenberch, I'm excited about Slot coming in. Same with Gakpo. I think Gakpo will probably get more opportunities in his favourite left side position where, to be honest, he's looked very good. I think Gravenberch, I made no bones about it. I was nervous when we signed him, but very quickly he won me over. And I think 40 million quid looks like a good signing. But Curtis Jones, I don't know about him. I don't know where we are with Jones, because he's been brilliant and crap, but I want some consistency. Craig, with Pink in concert, we'll see the stadium finished. What about the pitch when the boards come up? Will we have pitch? What? Pink? I think you mean Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift was the one that just played 3 nights at Anfield, mate. I think Pink was it last year or the year before? But either way, I would imagine the pitch would be sound, in all honesty, because one thing I will say is Anfield turf has looked pretty good. It hasn't been cutting up like some of the others. So yeah, I think in that sense, fine. Plenty of time. And remember, we're not playing pre-season games or anything at Anfield either. We're over in America for them, so the pitch should be absolutely fine. Olise or Kudus? Olise. And on Olise, at least there was an article today that showed that Liverpool are in the hunt. So Transfers.com said Liverpool aim to beat Chelsea and Manchester United to the signing of Michael Olise. And I hope that's true. Because, yes, I'm concerned about the hamstring injuries, but I've no concerns about the quality of the player after that. And if the club's medical department feel... is Pink doing another concert? Sorry, that's on me then. Apologies. I didn't realise Pink's doing a concert next week at Anfield. But either way, I still think the pitch will be fine. Because we've plenty of time and we're away for pre-season. Sorry, I genuinely didn't know about Pink doing another concert. Yeah, I mean, Pink's awesome, so... But yeah, I wouldn't worry about the pitch, mate. Sorry, I wouldn't worry about the pitch. I think we've enough time for that to recover. Yeah, all good for me on that one. Oh, Pink's doing a concert. Nice. I like Pink. I think Pink's brilliant. I hope you're well. Which 3 players do you think will improve most under Slot? Great question, Steve. And a nice positive one to finish off with. Gakpo, Darwin, and Szoboszlai. They would be the 3 off the top of my head that I think will benefit. Because what we seem to see with Szoboszlai was... an uncertainty about where he was at his best for Liverpool, I mean, but we know what a good player he is, so I think he'll find a position under Arne Slot that he'll make his own and he'll look brilliant in. After that, I think Cody Gakpo is going to blossom once he gets an arm around his shoulder, and I think maybe more options on the left, and I think Darwin's going to bag 30 plus goals next season, and I think Arne Slot is going to be able to show him the small details, like he did with Jimenez, to turn him into the player we want him to be. And that's optimistic, I know, but I've got to be optimistic at some point. I can't be moaning all the time. Do you think Liverpool have the possible advantage in the Elise race? Rumour is 60 million clauses only to a Champions League team. So I don't know about the clause. I did see something written that said Chelsea inquired about it and they were told that the clause isn't restricted to a Champions League team, but that was just media reporting. Do I think we have the advantage? No, I don't, because I think Chelsea will have put in a lot more groundwork. They tried to sign him last year. I'm not saying we're out of the race for him, but I wouldn't say we're... If you look at it from a footballing perspective, we should be the obvious choice for Elise, yes. Because Salah's not going to be around forever, and that right side can be his for the future. So I would look at it as a project and think we're the most viable option, the most exciting option for him. United are a little bit all over the place, and Chelsea, who knows at the moment with them. Elise for his speed when he's on the ball and for his creativity on the ball and off the ball. But to have his injury, we could sign and get a pre-season game at Liverpool. So he's going to the Olympics, which is another thing that we need to keep in mind with Elise. So that finishes, I think, the week before the Premier League starts. If I'm not mistaken, he's part of the French squad for the Olympics. So got to keep that in mind as well, is that you wouldn't get any pre-season with him. What do I think about Conceição to replace Salah? I don't know enough about him, in all honesty. So yeah, I'm not sure. Right, look, ladies and gents, I didn't realise how late it was. I'm going to say my good night to you guys. Thank you for tuning in again. Hopefully we've got some positive updates tomorrow. And sometimes after we have a little ranty stream, weirdly, we see something happen the next day. So, fingers crossed. Thank you again. Do drop a like on the stream for me before you head off. If you can, love to get it up to 500. Do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. And don't forget, you can get your tickets via the link at the top of the chat or in the description. You guys are amazing. Thank you as always for your great support. I look forward to chatting with you soon. Much love. 7:30 tomorrow night for the Netherlands.